lads. First of all, the captaincy decision. Alice Jenkins had a couple of wins in the autumn. What's the decision for Dan Biggar to take over for the new year?
Yeah, number of things we look at. Obviously, we've lost 680 caps, so it's a lot of experience gone. Dan brings a wealth of experience in this competition. Also, we're looking at form. We're looking at players that are competing in different positions, and the captain has to have a guaranteed bolted-on position in the team, I guess. And we think that Dan at the moment is the form 10. And in the other positions, there's a lot of competition. So we've gone with Dan. He, as I say, brings that experience. We've also named Adam Beard as a vice-captain because well aware that Dan and others will go back for certain days of certain weeks. So it's important that we have a leader ready to take over. And in Adam Beard, we've got somebody who we're probably earmarking for the future, post-World Cup probably. But he's a guy that we think has a big future with leadership attached as well.
Dan's always been a talkative presence on the field. Will he have to tone it down at all, do you think?
Oh, look, I think it'll add to Dan's game. It's obviously well documented that Dan is a highly motivated player. He's very competitive, and he speaks his mind. And certainly, we don't want to change him as a competitive player, and we want him now, obviously, to take on the role there as a captain and the duties that go with that, and the way we work with the referees.
3 uncapped players in the forwards. Can you talk us through their attributes, please?
Yeah, well, Dowie Lake is somebody that you'll recall in 2019 we had 4 youngsters join the group for learning purposes, and he was one of those guys. So he's been earmarked from a young age as part of the pathway system here in Wales. He's captain Wales under 20s. I just think he brings a physical presence. He's 112 kilos. He's the biggest hooker running around in Wales. He's going to be a very destructive player. As time goes by, he's very good over the ball. He's a strong ball carrier. We need big ball carriers. We've lost a lot of experience and some of our better ball carriers through injury. So, what he brings will make up for some of the absences that we do have. People talk about his throwing. When he was in camp with us for the Six Nations 2020 and in the Barbars game I mentioned, he improved out of sight. So we'd expect with a concentrated effort over and above what he's doing with his club that will improve. And so we think it's a good time to get him in there.
You've also got James Ratty, a recent convert to the back row, and Jack Morgan, who's been tipped for a couple of years probably to be a Wales cap.
Yeah, well, Jack comes in a position where, we have a lot of competition, and we discussed Jack probably in the autumn series when he was left out of the squad, and we put our money behind Tane Basham. I think you saw the results of that selection. In the autumn, he played very, very well, and I think, he's still got lots to improve in his game, and Tane will be working hard again in this competition. Jack now, with injuries, gets an opportunity. We know he's very good over the ball. He has a high work rate in the game, and we'll look to add to his game and see if we can develop him further throughout this competition. James Ratty is in a position where we don't have a lot of number 8s in this country. He's converted from second row, so he's got good size. What we want to do is just add to his game again in terms of his attacking game and defensive game, but we think he brings raw ingredients that with a bit of time and work, we can keep improving him as a player. And with the World Cup just around the corner, I think we need to be looking ahead as well as the here and now. And those selections are about not only the here and now, but looking ahead as well.
Of the long-term injured, if I can put it that way, how close is Ross Moriarty to fitness, and any of the other big names, the Lions guys, expected back later in the tournament?
Yeah, we're hopeful. Obviously, we're in close contact with, in communications with the clubs and their medical teams and head coaches. So Ross is on track to play, not this weekend, Dragons don't play, but the following weekend. So he'll be released from camp to play and get a game under his belt, and comes through that, then obviously he'll be available for selection, hopefully for Ireland. So yeah, that's a welcomed return for Ross.
Last couple of months have been difficult times for the Welsh pro sides, through no fault of their own in a lot of cases, but no wins in Europe and a shortage of game time. How concerned are you by the state of readiness of those players?
Yeah, look, it's preparing this squad is going to be the most challenging for us to date. Just selecting the squad was a really interesting exercise, as as you've mentioned. It's well documented with the COVID that's been going on, the COVID cases in a couple of the clubs, and being stuck in South Africa. It hasn't been ideal for a lot of players. Wyn Jones, I think's had the one game now. Jonathan Davies the same since the autumn. So look, that's not ideal preparation for any player. So look, I know they've been doing a lot of hard work behind the scenes, and we'll be doing our best over the first couple of weeks to get as much volume into them without breaking them as we can. And there's a fine balance, but we've got to get them up to play Test rugby, and we know that takes a bit of work. So look, those players, through no fault of their own, have been put in this situation. So it's just working together with the clubs and making sure that we've got the right information from them in terms of the selection we think we have, and we'll see how we go from there.
And finally, given all that, and despite the fact that you're defending champions this tournament, can you claim any sort of underdog status, do you think, going in?
Yeah, look, I think when you read the bottom two lines of the press release with the injured, I think there's about 8 or 9 players there, 680 Test caps. So I challenge any side to lose that amount of experience and to come out overconfident. Look, we're confident in the ability of the squad. It's going to be, the first 2 weeks going to be critical, how much work we can get into the boys to get up to speed. So it's going to be a great challenge, but certainly for us, it's about starting the competition well and building as we did last year. So it's the usual cliche, but the Island game becomes paramount for us and getting off to a good start. And we know the challenge that awaits us there, because history will tell you that it's not an easy place to go.
Thank you, Wayne. Good luck.
Thank you.
Julian?
Afternoon, Wayne. Is it helpful in a way that Dan is a fly half who likes to talk, and so therefore making him captain, he's given that he's now the only one who officially can sort of speak to a referee?
Yeah, look, Dan, as you say, all 10s, they're part of the group of players that manage the game for us. So, they're working closely with coaches on strategies. He's a very big part of the leadership group, whether he's captain or not, as part of the decision-making process on the field, being a goal kicker. So, look, there's not a lot of change for Dan, except he gets a little bit more leeway to talk to referees than he normally does. And what we've got to do is make sure that, we use that to our advantage, and the relationships are the ones that we need.
And you mentioned it just then. I mean, you could have an easier start than Ireland away. What do you make of them as a side?
Well, I think, watching them in the autumns, they were very, very good. Both Ireland, France were exceptional against the All Blacks, who are a quality side, obviously. And to see what they did to a team like Argentina, we're going to have to prepare very, very well to perform the way we'd like to against Ireland. They're a team that can strangle you with the ball. They hold possession for long periods of time. So your defence has got to be, up to speed, and then you've got to take your scoring opportunities when they come. So, look, it's going to be one where we've really got to prepare very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come to Matt.
Hi, Wayne. Just a quick one on Dan. Do you think we'll see a slightly different sort of approach from him towards officials in this campaign? Obviously alluding to the fact that sometimes what you don't say to a referee is just as important as what you do say as a captain.
I've been very supportive of Dan, because we've selected him pretty much most games since coming in 2019. So clearly we like him as a player. We like the competitive nature that he brings. So, you're talking about one part of the game where we focus on 1 or 2 discussions with a match official. But look, it's something that Dan's worked hard on with his club coach, Chris Boyd, at Northampton, and the communications we have there, that Dan's been an excellent role model and is doing well. So, look, we expect him to represent himself and the team very, very well. Look, he's relishing the opportunity. So I know he'll do a very good job.
You obviously left Adam Biggar out. I think it was the Autumn Nations Cup in 2020, and since then he's a Six Nations winner. He's gone on the Lions tour, and the sky seems to be the limit at the moment. What have you made of his sort of last 18 months and where he's going?
Well, the good thing is he's got plenty of room for improvement, and he knows that there's parts of his game that he's working on to improve. So that's exciting. Look, he's a player that has gone away and taken the setback very, very well. He's gone and done everything we've asked him to do. And he shows to other players that if you get disappointment, so long as you go away and take it in the right way, any constructive criticism coming your way and work on it, then there's no reason why you can't come back and do very, very well at the top level of the game. So I'm very pleased for the efforts that he's put in, and he's deserved all those selections along the way.
And just lastly from myself, just two players I wanted to throw at you. Owen Lane and James both been playing really well for Cardiff in the last few weeks. Just how close were they, and what perhaps would be the message to those two? Yeah,
unfortunately for both of them, they've had a couple of games of rugby at this level. James has picked up an injury, so he's unavailable at the moment. And we've decided, along with a lot of other players, to leave them out at this stage. Should they come right and their form was good in club rugby, then hopefully some of those guys will join us before the end of the competition, because we do know that we'll pick up injuries along the way. Owen Lane, I guess we've gone with Alex Cuthbert in that position, and we don't just look at club form. Obviously, we look at the form at the top level, and we think that 48 Test caps and a fantastic performance, I thought, against Fiji. That's got Alex the nod, and we've had a conversation with Owen, and Stephen spoken to him this morning around things that he needs to keep working on, and he's probably one injury away from joining the group.
Okay, I'll do two final questions in the live, so James and then Daniel, and then we'll move to the embargoed section.
Wayne, how relieved were you when the Welsh Government changed the policy on crowds in stadiums?
Oh, very, very pleased. Very happy, not only for ourselves, because the importance of having, a crowd in a home fixture, looking at the opposition, obviously having crowds. So we would have been very desperately disappointed not to have had crowds, but certainly happy. I know that the public are very excited, the people that I bump into. I think there'll be a rush now to pick up the last few tickets that are left for the home games. And look, it's just every kid's dream to play for his country, and then to play in front of 75,000 Welsh supporters in that stadium. It's just, you have to be there to experience it, and to be fortunate enough to be in the squad, whether it's a player or member of management. It's like a drug. It's just, you're on a high, and it's just it's something that you want to get more and more of, and these boys are no different. So you're really, really pleased that the fans can be there to enjoy it as well.
It boosts your chances too, doesn't it?
Certainly helps. It does certainly help. However, we did win the competition without crowds.
Good point. And finally, from me, we're obviously still going through this wave of COVID. Did vaccinations come into your selection at all, in terms of unvaccinated players? And are you able to divulge what percentage of your squad or group is vaccinated?
Well, no, it didn't really come into it, because we're playing France and Italy at home, so we're away to Ireland and England, so it wasn't really on our radar, to be honest. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think we're not too far off being a full squad of players and management vaccinated.
Thank you.